Let us all enjoy the musical Prelude offered by our pianist, John Mayhood. Thank you, John. Greetings, everyone. On this day when it is so lovely to be together, we welcome you to our community worship with the UU congregation of Charlottesville. My name is the Reverend Leah Derland Jones, and I am serving today as your worship weaver. Some of us are in the sanctuaries of our homes, joining in the community online, and we welcome you. Some of us are here in the sanctuary on Rugby Road. This place was built for this congregation over 70 years ago on a hilltop setting on land that is the homeland of the Monacan people and land that was once cared for by enslaved people from Africa. We honor all of those who have dwelt here before and all those in our congregation over the decades whose lives led to this moment of our gathering once again as a community of memory and hope. We are blessed by their memory. I am happy to be sharing worship with you today along with Debby Norton and with our guest from RISE organization in Waynesboro, Sharon Fitz. I invite you now to take a moment to greet others who are with you in worship this morning. Those of you on Zoom can unmute and say hello to one another, and those of you here in the building, you're invited to rise and turn and greet those close to you.
Where am I?
Hi, Zoomies.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Laura. Hi, everybody. Good to see people.
Hi, Zoom people.
Oh, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning, Cindy. I hope your shoulder is better.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hi,
And
Hi,
good
Bev.
morning, Natalie.
I am Jay.
Hey, Deborah. Morning, Donna. Good morning, Kathy. Hi, Shirley.
Hi.
So
Shirley, I hope
morning,
you're feeling
everyone.
better.
Hi, Donna.
Hi. How are you?
Hi,
Kathy,
Donna.
how are you feeling?
I'm doing okay. I'm looking forward to having surgery so that my ankle will be better, but that won't be till October.
Mm,
But the
Mhm.
COVID's all better?
Oh yeah, I had a really quick episode of that.
Okay.
good.
So yeah, that was
Good.
no problem. So
Glad to hear it. I had a friend who just got COVID last week, and even though he was 4 times shot, it's really sick.
I'm sorry.
oh. Mm.
Sit closer.
And I'm
It
going
is
to
so
mute
good to
us now.
be with
Thank
one
you.
another, both here in this room, Zoom room. I invite everyone to take a seat. We are especially happy to greet those of you who are with us for the first time. We welcome you and we invite you, whether you're in the Zoom room, to stay on for chatting in the Zoom room after service or to join us in the fellowship area. We would love to talk with you, especially if you're here for the first time. A reminder to everyone in the sanctuary this morning, and this is so very important, we ask that you please keep your high quality mask in place, covering both your nose and your mouth at all times while you are in the sanctuary as well as in other parts of the building. If you need a sip of water or a breath of fresh air, please step outside of the building and move away from others. This act of kindness to your fellow congregants will help keep everyone as safe as possible as we continue to navigate life during the ongoing pandemic. We also have seating every Sunday in the social hall where you can participate in worship by watching a live stream video on a large screen. And the social hall is particularly welcoming to families or other people who need to move around during the service. We want you to do what you need to do to take care of yourself and be as comfortable as possible in our worship time together this morning, as well as taking care of one another for our health and safety. Many thanks to the folks helping us with our worship service here this morning, our on-site greeters and ushers and hospitality and logistics folks, and a special shout out to our AV tech team, Sean Scally and Rachel Buckland, who are in the tech booth this morning, supporting our dual platform worship. And here to greet you now from your Board of Trustees is board member Bev Ryan.
Good morning. Can you hear me? So in case you don't know me, my name's Bev Ryan. I am serving as the vice president of the board. I just started July 1st, so this is somewhat new to me. I must admit I was a board lurker, if that's a word. I attended board meetings all the time before I was a member. And I want to let you know that the board is open to anybody who wants to attend. Anyway. Trying to remember what I was going to say. I have been coming to this church since 1994, thanks to Beth Jager Landis, and have been a member since 98. I have 2 children that were raised in this church, Ben and Devin. And over the years, I've been involved in a lot of different activities, committees, volunteering. And I think that I have received much more than I've given through this service. So I look at all of you, and I may be preaching to the choir, but look around and find somebody you don't know and say hello. Encourage new folks to come to the social hall after the service. And then have a conversation with them once they get there. And involve yourself with events and volunteer activities. There are so many volunteer activities that don't require you to be a member. You can come, enjoy, help out. There's short-term activities and longer-term. So I think that's all I've said. I will be in the social hall after the service if anybody wants to chat.
Thank you so much, Bev. We appreciate you offering your greetings this morning. I have a couple of announcements for us. We have an urgent request today for help for the Afghan refugees in Charlottesville and across the nation. The team of mentors from our congregation's Refugee Welcome Task Force is asking you to sign a petition to support the Afghan Adjustment Act. It's a bill in Congress that is considering to create a fast track to citizenship for the 75,000 Afghan refugees who fled from the Taliban to the US last August. So you can help by signing a petition that's available today. And Sharon, I'm wondering if you're going to be in the social hall with it so people can look for you. So Sharon, why don't you raise your hand or stand up and turn around so folks in the sanctuary can see you. And I know that that petition has been available here in the church. So if you're not here this morning and you want to come by and sign it, you can come by during church office hours and then go ahead and sign it then. So thank you for that leadership by our task force to help us be part of making that fast track happen. And let's see if there are any other announcements. I think that's it. So now let us bring our hearts and our minds into worship with these words by Andre Moll. This blessing was written in honor of two Unitarians, Martha and Waitzel Sharp, who during World War II dared to risk their own comfort in order to help save the lives of those in desperate need. As we gather together, may we remember, when you share with me what is most important to you, that is where listening begins. When I show you what I hear in you, when I say that your life matters, that is where compassion begins. When I open the door to greet you, that is where hospitality begins. When I venture out to bring you to shelter, that is where love begins. When I risk my comfort to ease your suffering, when I act against hatred, violence, and injustice, that is where courage begins. When we experience the full presence of each other because of our shared humanity, because of our differences, that is where holy gratitude begins. May this space be a table that is not complete until all are welcome. May this table be a space of beauty where together we create a series of miracles and where all that we share is sacred. May it be so.
The video, when we hear it, company we keep by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the way. great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
I invite Linda and Frank Dukes to come forward now to light our chalice. And let us say these words together. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. And then we'll do the lighting with our hand motions, our hand out flat like the matchbook, and our finger is the match. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is a church of open minds. This is a church of helping hands. This is a church of loving hearts.
There is always a light when we are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will. Shine your light in the dark. We are ready to see it. Shine your light in the dark. We are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a gift. Together we will. There is always shine your light. There is always light. We are ready to see it. There is always shine your light. There is always in the dark. We are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a gift. Together we will. There is always light. There is always light. There is always shine your light. There is always light. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a climb this hill. Together we will. There is always shine your light. There is always shine. There is always shine your light. There is always shine. Be the light.
Thank you, Leah Morris. The next video that we're going to watch is about the Unitarian Universalist presence in the nation and the world. That's what our focus is today. We've been talking about our presence all this month in our individual lives. And this is a video about Side with Love, an organization that reaches out.
Unitarian Universalists, our faith demands that we put our values into practice. We know that both our people and our planet are sacred. We know the beloved community is not complete without the sacred presence of everyone. Every gender, every sexuality, every voice, everybody is invited to side with love.
Side with Love is the hub for all of our outfacing justice work of our association. No matter who you are or where you are, there is a place for you to side with love. You can put your faith into action through one of our signature campaigns, You the Vote, Create Climate Justice, Uplift, and Love Resists.
We invite Unitarian Universalists to develop their leadership and organizing skills, deepen their political and spiritual grounding, and take meaningful action in solidarity with our partners to build a world in which all of our communities are free and thriving. Though the questions may change, how to achieve climate justice, who to elect, our response remains the same: side with love. When our electoral process was under attack in 2020 and 2021, UUs made more than 3 million contacts to turn people out to the polls, talk about our values, and defend our democracy.
When our partners asked us to show up in solidarity to stop Line 3, hundreds of UUs participated in direct action and public witness from the Northwoods of Minnesota to the streets of Washington, D.C. When Texas, Alabama, and Florida passed legislation attacking LGBTQ people, UU showed up in force online and in their own communities to speak up to protect our siblings and to fight for trans and queer lives.
When the president broke his promises about expanding immigrant detention, UUs showed up for distributed actions across the country, demanding the immediate closure of all detention centers.
To side with love means to put our values into action. And no matter who you are, or what your skills or your passions, there is a role for you. Whether it is joining one of our volunteer squads, participating in our organizing school, coming to one of our skill ups, joining one of our monthly community of praxis meetings, or taking action through our Action Center and joining us to learn together about the issues through our political education webinars. Everyone has a place in our shared work for justice. There are many ways for you and your congregation to side with love. We need all of us, including you, to be a part of our shared work for justice and liberation. Get started right now by texting LOVE to 866-533-1494.
A new way. Together we are building a new way. Together we are building a new way. Getting stronger every day. We are building Together, we are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, it is a seed. We can feed our every need. Set freedom is our cry. Set freedom is our cry. He said freedom is our cry. Without these the world would die. Said freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. Together, we are building a new way. Together, we are building a new way. Getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. Together, we are building a new way. Getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. Together, we are building a new way. Together, we are building a new way.
More ease, a bit more spaciousness, a bit more calm. Breathe deeply and notice the sounds of life around you, the breath of others, your own beating heart, birdsong, traffic sound, while we breathe in and out together with us all. And just know that we can return to our breath anytime, day or night, when we are by ourselves or when we are with others, to reconnect to ourselves and to our source, to a sense of peace and ease. In our lives together, we strive to offer one another comfort and support. When we gather in community together, we remind ourselves of what matters most to each of us. We open our hearts to all who are troubled by things happening in our homes, our communities, our wider world. We join with our nation in mourning the tragedies which are with us today. We pray for peace in the world. We pray for peace in Ukraine and other countries and communities wherever there is suffering. May fighting cease. May love prevail. Amen.
This community offers its love and support to what is closest to our hearts. Another way we show our care for one another is in sharing our financial gifts with our community and our congregation. Sean, will you show us the slide for giving, please? Each week, we invite everyone to the spiritual practice of generosity by giving to the ministry of our congregation. Through your pledges and the weekly Sunday morning offering, together, we build the future of our congregation and our larger community. This is our shared ministry. From you we receive, and to you we give. During the music which follows, you may choose to make your Sunday morning offering by using the text address or by going to our congregation's website. Here in the sanctuary, you may bring cash or checks forward. During this musical prayer of thanksgiving, you are invited to share not only your financial gifts, but also to share the joys and the sorrows which may be in your heart. Those on Zoom may put your joys or sorrows in the chat box, and those here at the Rugby Road Sanctuary may come forward to place a stone in the water. The stone symbolizes what is in your heart, and the water represents the soothing embrace our caring community offers for your joy and sorrow. You may also leave a note for us on the joy and sorrow paper that is provided. I'm going to invite Debbie now to light a candle for all the joys and sorrows that we carry in our hearts this morning. Let us hold one another in a compassionate embrace. And let us dedicate all of the many gifts we share with one another by saying, "We accept your gifts with gratitude. May we use them wisely for the highest good." You may come forward.
Rise Foundation, African American Teaching Fellows, Birth Sisters of Charlottesville, Blue Ridge Abortion Fund, Charlottesville Public Housing Association of Residents, New Beginnings Christian Community Food Pantry, Pacham, Sin Barreras Without Barriers Incorporated, and the Buck Squad. Today, I would like to take a moment to celebrate our congregation's social action collection. In my classroom, we celebrate with some different motions. One is fireworks. You can join me in this if you like. One is a round of applause and a little pat on the back. Each of these 9 organizations is doing vital work in our community to change systems and help those who are oppressed by them. They are true agents of change. We support them, you support them, and that is worth celebrating. I am so excited to be a part of this network, and I've been deeply affected by it. This month, we've been focusing on cultivating presence, as I mentioned before, in ourselves and in our relationships in our town. Thank you, Laura Horn, Frank Dukes, Greg Townsend, Reverend Leah. And thank you to Reverend Linda Olson Peebles, who I find very inspiring in this area. The Social Action Collection and our participation in Impact, along with various other things, are about our congregation's presence and commitment in the wider community, a community that has been devastated by racism and greed. What I've come to understand about presence is embodied presence within the self can lead to greater presence with others. Greater self-awareness and greater self-love lead to greater capacity to listen to others and be open to learning our community's history and needs. And this in turn leads to the impulse to compassionate action. Maya Angelou said, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better." This congregation has been hard at work at doing better for decades. In fact, my original plan was to highlight the history of all of this service, but it was too much information to sort through, and I'm sorry. Someday that will happen. What is wonderful to think about is that as we continue to learn and grow in self-knowledge as individuals and as a congregation, our compassion towards each other and our wider community are guaranteed to grow. I'd like to ask everyone here who has been involved in our community social justice work to stand up, please. And I know there will be many, many of you, and just look around and appreciate that. Thank you so much. The Social Action Collection meeting that happens each year is incredibly inspiring. During this meeting, each organization presents information about what they are doing, and they are then voted upon. Anyone can attend, and I encourage you to nominate a group you believe in and attend next year. It is amazing. It is eye-opening, and it is truly beautiful to see how people who are present to themselves and connected to Source bring their talents and gifts to helping their community. This year, we would love to start connecting more in person with each of these organizations every month and forming more meaningful relationships with them. During the pandemic, fate led me to Rise Organization's book club. It was taking place on Zoom, thank goodness, and it was life-changing for me. It kept pushing me to question my assumptions, recognize white supremacy, and take action for change. Rise is run by 2 of the most present, connected, and empowered women I know of, Chanda McGuffin, who you met last year, and today, Sharon Fitz, who I am honored to introduce to you, is here. The work of RISE is visionary and effective, and Sharon has been a mentor and a coach to me personally, and I am forever grateful to her. RISE just happens to be the recipient of our social action collection this month.
Good morning. So I'm going to surrender a little bit before we get started. I surrender all. I surrender all to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. So I thought about this opportunity, and I want to thank you all for having me here today. Every opportunity that I get to speak to individuals or groups, I work really hard to make sure that I seize the opportunity and let you know, first of all, that I appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. I really when I'm speaking to people, I do my homework a bit to see if I can make sure I can speak to you at a place about this. Social justice is really a complicated conversation to have a lot of times. And so the more I studied you all's mission and principles and sources, it gave me comfort to know that when I speak to you about the difficulties of systemic racism and structural racism and injustices, I won't have to spend a lot of time with that because you all already understand it. But RISE, to talk to you about RISE, our mission is to give hope and voice back to the Black community. When we say that, it doesn't mean that we only care about the Black community. It means that we are placing intentional focus on giving voice and hope back to the Black community. Because without hope, it's hard to do anything great. And our children have no hope when they're in an environment where there are low expectations or no expectations. It's hard to elevate them to a place where they actually can do the great things that they were born into this world to do. So through RISE, we do many things. We have conversations, complicated and courageous conversations surrounding race, racism, white supremacy. These are heavy topics. But then we also work really hard through our summer schools and our after school program to deal with the difficulties that a lot of kids that look like myself are in the school system are facing. They don't see themselves in the textbooks. They don't see themselves in the stories. They don't see themselves in the administration. They don't see themselves in the eyes of the teachers or the faces of the teachers. And for those who that's not their scenario, it's hard for them to understand how difficult that can be. How difficult it is to be in those environments where when you're looking around the room, there's no one that looks like your mother or your father that sees you or treats you with the same kind of value and expectations. And that's a difficult thing when I'm talking to a crowd of people who really, and this is something I've heard a lot that says that they don't have the lived experience. So I'm struggling just a bit, but I at the same time, I feel like when I read you all's principles, the 7 principles that you have, I feel like that you talk about the inherited worth of dignity of every person. You say justice and equity and compassion in human relations. RISE tries very hard to do those things, to bring people into a safe space, to bring children into a safe space where they don't have to worry about the difficulty of trying to fit in a space where there's no space for them. And as I look around, I'm hoping and I'm wondering, do you all really understand how hard it is sometimes for young people who are Black and brown in certain spaces that are not created for them. W.E.B. Du Bois said it is difficult, you cannot, systems cannot fail those it was not built to protect. Systems cannot fail those it was not built to protect. I just want you to sit with that, because what we do through RISE, Chanda and myself, is we try every possible way to get people to first understand the systems and acknowledge that these systems are in place and that they work just the way they were supposed to work. And that as a collective, as human beings, if you really care about me, if you really care about another human being, if you really care about children, that you will look at those systems, understand those systems, and do everything you can to dismantle them. And we recognize that that's no small feat. We do. People, I was talking to someone the other day, and I realized that when people say, what exactly does RISE do? That's really not what they're asking us. They're asking us, how do you have the audacity to think you can do what you're doing? And all I can tell you is that when I sat here today, and I'm have to be honest, I'm wondering, how do I connect, or what is the spiritual, or what is the spiritual environment here? And as I sat here and listened, I felt more and more relieved to know that you all are talking about human to human. That means that you see me as another human being, not just a Black person. You see me as another human being. And when you and I can see each other that way, we can do amazing things. We can truly change things, but people have to stop thinking that the problem is so big, that it's so difficult, that it's impossible. It's only impossible if we accept that, and then we use that as a reason for not trying. I know I'm all over the place, but this is what I do. I don't, I could give you a scripted, I could come up here and read to you, but when you ask who is RISE and what we do, I can't give you, you can't feel what we do if I come up here and just read to you the generic version of what we do, because there's two sides to what we do. We love, we offer loving environments. We also challenge people. We challenge you to be real. We challenge you to look at it, and it's not to judge. It's for you to look inside of yourself and understand that we are all impacted by the environments that we're brought up in, by the things that we were taught when we were younger. But when we get to be a certain age, there's a scripture that says that when we're a child, we think like a child. And when we become adults, we put all childish things away. So there's a time at some point where you have to become responsible for your own understanding of things. You can't continue to lean on what you were told when you were younger, or what you believed for the longest time. The older you get and the more you want to be a change agent, you have to do homework. You have to take inventory of yourself. And so I don't know how long I have, so I won't say too long, but I want to say that the question was asked for us to highlight the contributions that we've made in the community, in our community. Well, we've emboldened people. There's a lot of people who have a desire to be, to use their voice and to speak about issues that they see or feel passionately about, but they are afraid to speak to those things. As a result of RISE forming, and I give all praises to the Creator, but as a result of us forming RISE, we have emboldened people. We have given them a space to come in and talk things through and build up their confidence to be able to speak truth to those in power. That's no small feat. We've also impacted young minds who actually did not realize that they had greatness in them. I mean, we're not talking about big grown, we're talking about little ones. 2 teenagers who come in feeling unconfident, unsure, academically struggling. That's what they've been told anyway. But when they leave our program, they are standing tall. They know how to publicly speak. They are thinking critically. They are doing new things. And so we send them back into the school system ready And then we're just covering them with prayer that when they get into these systems, that all of the hard work that they've put in and all of the building up that has happened is not torn down by just one unkind or one insensitive word or look. Because looks are powerful. You can do a whole lot in just the way that you look. You don't have to say a word. The way that there's a body language, right? So all of these things matter. And so I appreciate what I know about this beautiful place here, because like I said, I try to feel the people and how they're feeling and whether or not this is really a welcoming space. And I have to tell you that it's beautiful to know that you all are doing the work that you do and that you really care about ending injustices and creating safe spaces and seeing each other and treating each other like human beings. So I appreciate you. There was one, I don't know if can we show that PowerPoint there? I wanted to show you some pictures because they say pictures are worth 1,000 words. So I wanted to show you some pictures from our summer school. And then I'll tell you a little bit about what you see here. We want to do more than survive. We want to thrive, right? So this is myself cooking breakfast, pancakes in the morning. And this is Chanda McGuffin. She was fixing tacos. So we got our hands, we're busy, 100% invested. The next slide. This is, Aiden is 4 years old. And each of our scholars created a poem, and they all had to get up and speak those poems. And so we don't put limitations on age. We have high expectations for all ages. And so our next slide here is getting to know our delegate, which is John Avoli. He's kind of underneath of the words there. And so he came in and spent the day. He's been there quite a few times to spend time with our kids. But we make sure that they get to meet the people that represent us and that they understand that one day that could possibly be a position they could hold. In the next slide, show them and they will be inspired. I love this picture right here. If you could just look at, they were all very interested in that camera, and I could see that's important to inspire them, to give them access to things that makes them know that they can do all kinds of, they can be creative, they can do all kinds of great things. So the next slide is when we took them to Harrisonburg to the Children's Museum. And I just love this because it's just showing you all the different possibilities. I think we need to do more to make sure that kids know that there's so many different possibilities out here. Next slide, please. Friendship. When the little ones would get nervous about doing their poems, the other little ones would come up and stand with them and they would hold hands. It's really, it was beautiful. But this is every day. All right, next slide, please. So these pictures, each one painted a picture to go along with their poem, which we're gonna do. We're gonna publish a book for them. So they're gonna have their poems and their paintings published. And I think I got a couple more. Conquering fear. At one point in time, I could have never gotten him to get up and do this. He literally volunteered, like asked for the mic. That was amazing. And then we did a debate. We had four of our kids. We started with 8, then we went down to 4 because life happens. But they learned the art of debate. And so what you're seeing here is they're prepping for the debate. Next slide, please. And this was our final this is our last night when we had all the family come in and they actually did the debate. And so, yes, one more. And this is what they look like at the end of the day. So we have so many more, but this is parents send us the pictures of this is what every day we get pictures of the kids. And that's how you know that they put in work and really did the work that we put. So we don't, like I said, we don't limit them. We really do require high expectations. So thank you. I know I was all over the place, but I just feel like this was a necessary moment to let you know that RISE is more than just an organization. We're a ministry in our own right. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. I'd like to invite you to stand and sing and dance to the next song that is a celebratory song.
I woke up feeling great. The birds are in the trees. They're singing me a melody. La 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 la, fuck the police. My head is on straight. My heart is in peace. My soul is incredibly ready to change history. It's a good day to fight the system. To fight the system. It's a good, good day. It's a good day. We're never gonna stop. We're gonna make it count. When one of us is fired out, the other one will hold it down. We're gonna spread the love. We're gonna spread it around. We're all over the city now, and way down in the underground. Come on. System, to fight the system. It's a good, good day. It's a good, good day. It's a good day to fight the system. To fight the system. It's a good, good day. It's a It's a good, good, good day. It's a good, good, good day. It's a good day to fight the system. To fight the system. It's a good, good day. It's a good, good day.
Whew, I don't know how you folks on Zoom are doing, but we're pretty pumped in this sanctuary. And I think we just found our new theme song. And Reverend Tim is joining us next Sunday, so I think you've got a song to teach him. I have an idea. It's one he's going to like. So he's going to be preaching 3 times in August, starting next Sunday. So please be sure that you're here on Zoom or you're here in the sanctuary so that you can offer him a warm welcome and teach him our new song. I want to thank Sharon so much for offering her good words to us this morning, and to Debbie for putting together a lovely, inspiring service for us. We're coming to the time for our benediction and the extinguishing of our chalice. So as
7 o'clock, I think we should begin.
All right, Sean. As we leave this time of worship together, let us dedicate ourselves again to believing in and trusting ourselves. And let us show up for each other with loving kindness and compassion as we each do our own work. Let us cultivate and embody presence for ourselves and for the world as we expand the circles of care, support, and growth, of justice, mercy, and equity ever wider. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.